Okay, good morning, everyone. I did want to go over something you came across and you'll come across in your activity today or lab exercise. Um, a couple, I guess, 4 or 5 years ago, when I taught this class, I had a student ask me a question. He was quite observant. He was new to coding, and yet he was very thorough. Or he really sought to seek understanding. Every time he saw something, he tried to make sense of it. And so he asked this question, which actually is something we're going to dive into a little later, but there's no harm in seeing it now because it will increase your understanding later. So I'll go over this, okay? So the question that he asked, so we had looked at hello graphics, and to recall, hello graphics, it extends JPanel. So if I go down here to the main method, so we created a window and then we instantiated a hello graphics object. We assigned it to the reference variable panel, and then we added that panel to the content pane for the window. So we associated the panel with the window via container C. Okay, so again, notice though that we did declare a reference variable panel to add it to the window. Now what he noticed here, and this is your lab for today, so we're going to create a class moving disk. It will extend JPanel as well, so it both extends JPanel. It also implements action listener, and implements means that this class is going to use the methods of action listener, and basically it's just going to set up the application to be able to listen to things that occur with the operating system. I'll go over that a little more in detail. Okay, but what I want you to notice here, unlike hello graphics, where we created a reference variable panel and then added it to the container, here we don't create a reference variable, but nonetheless we still get to add it to the container so that we can add it to the window. See add new moving disk. So what we do is right away then we just instantiate or we create a new class moving disk. Okay, and so I do want you to notice that we never created a reference variable like here and then added that reference variable to the container. Okay, but what really happens is that when we go see add panel, it's just going to add the properties and methods of hello graphics to the window. Okay, and it's because when this function ends, after this method is called and it ends, panel no longer exists, and we'll find that out. Okay, it's a local variable. Okay, it's a local variable, and local variables only exist within the function definition. So once this function run, that reference is gone. But container still now contains the object hello graphics. Okay, so a panel, in a sense, because it's embedded or declared in this function void main, it's only going to exist within that function. Okay, whereas here, okay, we're just going to add the class moving disk right to the container. We accomplish the same thing. We accomplish the same thing. It does the same thing. So anyway, he noticed that, and I just thought that was so cool because we'll learn more about Java, and we'll learn things about heap and stack and local variables and all of those things. But it's nice to see that before we actually get there. And I just thought he was very observant. I mean, and he was diligent about learning this stuff, and he would just question everything. All right, and so that's it. Now today you're going to have an activity, and you're going to have to fix the syntax of the class they give you, and I believe it's just what I was looking at, moving disk. So, and I'll just point out a couple things to you. So here I'll create a project. So file new. So it's moving disk, right? Oh, I better go back because I don't think I selected Java. New project. Here we go, Java application. Alright, so moving disk. That's the name of it. Finish. And then I'll go to the Java file, should be called moving disk, and I'll just copy and paste what they gave us. Again, this is in your student files. And I always like to kind of go over things with you guys, what you're seeing. That's important. And I'm going to start at the import. So, and again, keep your package name. And then, yeah, so I'll paste over it. And then you'll have several errors to fix, right? The IDE is going to help you a lot. But anyway, here, I didn't want to go through this here. So I talked about this class moving disk implementing action listener. Okay, so basically it's something in this class or in this object will be listening to things that are occurring with the operating system. Now we have such things called constructors, and I think I mentioned that yesterday, and that's right here, public moving disk. Notice it has the same name as a class. This is a constructor. Okay, so when this class gets instantiated, okay, we're going to do something right away, and usually we set up things right away in the constructor. So here we're going to declare. Well, okay, you have to. Anyway, so what's going on here in the constructor then is basically we're setting up this object to be able to listen to the timer of the operating system. And I believe this is going to new timer 30. That may be like every 30 milliseconds. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's not every 30 seconds because that would be way too long. This may be like whatever. So this timer may fire every 30 milliseconds, and then we're going to start the clock. So, all right. So timer clock. So that's what's going on there. And here we're using some math functions, cosine and sine. Yeah, so paint component, again, it's a method. Okay, it's a method that's inherited and overridden from the JPanel class. Okay, so again, JPanel has probably an abstract method called paint component, which you may I'm surprised they didn't say you had to override it, but probably because you have a lot of errors in here. All right, and so yeah, so I've kind of gone through some of this stuff before. All right, and anyway, so you guys have to go through that, and you have to correct the errors. All right, so that's it. So, and then you'll have some textbook homework as well. All right. Oh, and by the way here, guys, so I get questions about the homework, and don't feel frustrated here. If there's two things that are essential to being a good programmer, it's perseverance. Okay, this stuff can be tough. I know when I was putting together my chat server, where you guys respond anonymously. Boy, I tell you, it took me like 7 or 8 hours, where it should have only taken me a couple, because I've done that code many times before, but I came to find out that the place where I host my server, okay, they changed something in my IN file on the server for PHP, so they changed some settings, but I didn't know that, and so I had to. I did a lot of Google searching and ended up finding that was the case, so I had to do something in my INI settings. Boy, but I spent the whole day doing that, so very frustrating. So one thing is you have to have perseverance for sure. Okay, two things: perseverance And then the second thing, you have to be very resourceful. So, and when I say resourceful, I mean like exploring the API, the application programming interface. It's kind of like what I did yesterday. You want to find out how a method operates. And so you Google it, you look at the class. But again, don't feel frustrated, particularly if you're new to this. Yeah, in due time it will come. Trust me. Many students, they start off and they get apprehensive. It can be somewhat intimidating, but then over time they come to understand the stuff. So I know the textbook kind of throws a lot at you. I was looking at this lab they want you to do, and they don't mention that intentionally. How did they say that? Let me see here. Oh, they say, you might wonder, how am I going to fix syntax error if I have no idea what the correct Java syntax is? Well, consider it an adventure game, okay? Trust me, so much of coding, even if you've been doing it 10 or 20 years, it's an adventure game. And the reason why is because things change a lot in this industry. And I think if you guys remember the skill of a programmer, you have to adapt to change like every day. Okay, that's just the way it is. New language come out, new technology. You have to stay at the forefront of things. You're always learning. Okay, so it's day by day. It's always an adventure. Okay, anyway, so that's all I had to say.